Well, welcome back to pages 17 onwards of chapter 1. Sorry, I just switched off the video when you use the this thing. So we're using basic formulas. I gave the option that we could flick this down here, and that would actually bring up some options. What it actually does is it brings up the function wizard, which we'll go through later on. I can't use it on this video because it switches the video off. So I'll have to not use that for the moment. And when I teach this later on, there is a video for that. I have to put some screen prints in, and you'll just have to follow it with me. So let's use up the. We're in page 17. We're using basic formulas. So we've got equals, and then let's get out of that because I'll create a equals, and then I'm going to click on that one. That cell, then I'm going to put a plus sign, then click on that cell, then I'm going to put a plus sign, I'm going to click on that cell, put a plus sign, and click on that cell, and put a plus sign. That's multiplication. So we've got the plus sign. You'll notice those things there. We could have written that out: B4 plus B5 plus B6 plus B7. A little bit longer. Yeah. When we get more advanced, we'll have some options that do this a little bit quicker. So we can have a sum there that will do the same thing like that. So that's multiplication. Oh, sorry, not multiplication. That's addition. You'll see a plus sign. You'll notice that. For subtraction, let's say B4 minus B5, the normal subtraction symbol that you recognise. Yeah, I could have written that out as well. The same thing, but it's just a little bit quicker to use the clicking of the mouse. So addition and subtraction, you'll notice the same symbols. For multiplication though, we don't use an X, we use the asterisk. So B4, and the asterisk is shift and the 8 number. Asterisk B4 times by B5, that would be an asterisk. We can write it out as well if we wanted to. It should be that method. And for the division, we use the forward slash. So equals, so we bring up the equals, so it's an equation. B4 forward slash, which is under the under the question mark. B4 divided by B5. Notice how that, because there's 0 in B5, we're trying to divide something by 0, it turns into a load of rubbish. So addition, subtraction, you'll notice those symbols. Multiplication, no, it's an asterisk, and for division, it's forward slash. Okay. Right, bottom of page 17, to make one cell, I'll delete all of that, make one cell always equal to another. So let's put in cell A2, that, and we're going to go here, I'm going to say that is equal to that cell there. Why do we do it like that rather than just typing in the same thing in both ones? Well, let's say I change this to that, it changes the other one. If I have, I'll make a slight change. This is what's known as absolute referencing. We'll do this later on. Change that to that and drag it down to all of this stuff here, and change this to that, and then change it there. You'll see how it's changing continuously. That's one of the real powers of Excel, is that we will have set something up to be able to make a change, let's say a price list or something like that, and it will automatically update other things. So that's the reason for why we would set one cell to be equal to another. Okay, over the page onto page 18, we're nearly there. So what does it say in formula? B cell. So they've given us a detailed set of information here with some months at the top, and we've got some names to the left hand side. So we've got some salaries here, and we've got some various other things. Let's just call them item 1, item 2, and what have you, for speed. There we go. Okay, and we got some amounts here of 80,000 and 1,000 and 3,500 and 270 and a 0 and 95 and 57. And then at the bottom, you've got some totals. Okay. It says now that there's the use of the sum function here. So we can either do it like that. So there's this thing here in the formulas, this auto sum here, that one there. It's a mathematical symbol meaning the sum from 1 to n. The auto sum here is one way of doing it quickly. And when you do that, so we hit on it, it bounces around and brings up this range. There might be a question that we didn't want it to be that range that Excel is telling us, and we only want it to be that. Then we would click in the top one and we would drag to where we want it to be. In this instance, we want it to be the whole lot. We could write it, and we could open the bracket, and then we could drag what we wanted to do as well. That would be another way of doing it. But typically, you're going to find that auto sum is useful. I'm not sure whether it's also sitting in the home bar up there as well, and that's why it's that useful. It sort of sits both in the home bar, but it also sits in the formulas one as well. So I think it's got it. It's sort of said, yeah, that doesn't actually come up in the book, but that's the fastest way of doing it. I think if you start trying to write straight away, it can be a bit harder. So now there's an alternative way of doing that as well. As let's say we just wanted this to be equal to a certain number of these items. We click on that, we put a little comma in between. That will only add up some of them, not all of them. So that's how you get it to add up a number of them that isn't that. This will give what's known as a range. If you see this little colon in between two cell references, that means that denotes a range. So it's saying adding up that range from there to there. Actually, I included the totals as well. This one is just saying just add up those individual ones, and so we've missed out C5 and C6 and C8. So that takes us through the sum function and how we do that. Now, once we set this thing up, let's just delete the rest of that out. Once we set this up here, we can then copy and paste. Now, you can either copy and paste, Control C, as we've had previously, and Control V. And now you can see it's going to add up all of these other ones in here. And so if we put the other figures in, that's 80,000, isn't it? This one's 3,500. 500 in there. So you can see how these figures are adding up what's in these columns in here. So that was one method of doing it, which would be Control C, Control V. Another method, if I go and insert a little shape here, I'm going to point you to it. See how that arrow, I've put a little shape and it's pointing at this little green square at the bottom of that there. So I'm just going to delete that out now so you can just see it. That little green square that I'm referring to there, that I'm just hovering. And you see how it's just changed the little cursor from that square to that. If you left click and keep your finger down on that left click, that will drag that equation out to the right. I'm going to keep going. Drag it out there, and that's that there. That's a faster way of doing that, Control C and Control V. And in the exam, it's all about time, really. The faster we can do it, the better we can. I mean, you're not under, as long as you know what you're doing, you're not under that much pressure. I think I can knock out the 3-hour exam in about 40 minutes if I got down to it. You still want to get as much time as you can into it. So you can see how the formula has copied itself across, and what it's done is it's moved and it's changed that C to a D there. Later on we'll do something called absolute referencing where we'll stop it moving there, but if it's left open, then it will move that C to a D as we move to the right. If we drag it down, it'll change actually the numbers from the 410 to 511, C6 to 12, 7 to 13. That might not be useful So that's why we have a different function later on called absolute referencing to change that. We don't need to do that right now. Okay, so we've got some averages being put in here as well. Alright, so here we've got 90,000, is it? It says put in the average, so we've got an average function in here. Okay, we can use an averages function. And it's told us that the average is 85,000. So that is average there, and we put the range in. So what we've done is we constructed an equation. So to construct the function, then equal sign, then we put in whatever function it is that we want to use. So we put in the average, then we open the bracket, then we put the range in. That's the hard way. I'm going to, it's a shame we're not doing the function wizard. I think what I'll probably do is in the next video between the rest of them is I'm going to do the function wizard up front, because there's a faster way of doing this that I think will help. It doesn't matter if we've got the sum one because we've got the auto sum already there, but I think if the book is already going to put us into averages at the start, then we need to do the function wizard straight away. Can't do it in this video because it switches the video off if I switch it up. Right, so as we get to the end of a chapter, we always do the activities together and see whether I know what I'm talking about. So let's set up a new workbook. So let's just delete out all of these worksheets. Yeah. Change that to sheet 1. Right, let's set up a new workbook. Let's imagine that it does that. I don't want to set up a new workbook myself because it'll switch the video off. Move to sheet 1. Change the name to time data. So what we do is we move our arrow into here. We double left click. So we double left click to change the name, and that then turns it like that. There. And we change this now to time data. So to change the name of a sheet, we double left click in it. Move to cell A1 and enter work bookings. Work bookings. That's a text string, so that's text. In cell A2, enter client. Enter week 1, week 2, and week 3 in cells B2, C2, and D2 respectively. Okay, week 1. I'm not going to type that in like that. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to click into it. I'm going to go to my little left, the bottom green square, and I'm going to just drag that to the right, and you'll see how it's changed it to week 1, week 2, and week 3 for me. Then I'm going to put Smiths Limited, Jones and Partner, Redwoods and Underhills. So Smiths Limited, Jones and Partner. So you should be doing this alongside with me. Redwoods and Hills. Okay. And then you save it. File, save, and you just save it with the name. So that's the first one. That's exercise 1. Done and dusted. Yep, right. We're now into exercise 2. Thank goodness we're using the same thing. Widen the column A to the longest entry in column A. So we've got column A here. We need to wind it, line it in here, and I'm going to call that partner. Widen it. So I've got to get it out to here. So go into here. The gap or the line between the two column headers. My little thing changes from my cursor changes from that arrow if I was in the actual column header to that, which is saying widen out, and I widen it out like that. Okay. Insert a row below work bookings. So I'm not in that bit, I'm in that bit, and I right click here, and I go and I insert a row there. Okay. For Smith Limited, enter the value 15 for week 1 in cell B4. So cell B4, 15. And then copy that. Okay, I'll do the Control-C, Control-V method. Okay, so that's into C4, into cell C4 and D4. Okay, Jones and Partners. I'm going to go 12, 8, and 10. Redwoods, 13, 20, and 11. And Underhills, I'm going to have the same amount. So here, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to highlight those, and I'm going to drag that with the little square down and copy it that way. So instead of doing the Control-C, Control-V method, I use the little highlight and drag down one, just so I can show you both of them. We're now going to use some formulas to get the spreadsheet to do some calculations for us. So in cell A9, we're going to put totals. Okay. And then we're going to use the sum function in here. So I'm going to use the auto sum function. There. I'm going to click on that. The range came up. It was the range that I wanted, and I press enter. There. In this one, I'm just going to type it out. Sum, open brackets, highlight the range with my left click, close the brackets, and do that. I won't use the the function wizard coming out from here. In this one, I'm going to go equals that plus that plus that plus that. Just so I can show the different methods that we could have done it. Those are the figures there. Save the spreadsheet. So that's at stage 3. Let's do stage 4 then. In cell A3, put the average in here. Right, okay, and so it's now saying it would like to calculate the average of those ones. So I'm going to put I'm going to have to write out the average function here for those there. So I put my function in. I'll do that again for you. I'll do this again. I won't copy them down like it's sort of say. Oh, I'll copy it down for the last 2, but I'll do it again for you here. Equals, and I put in average. I open the brackets. I highlight the range. I close the brackets, and that's that. I'm going to do the function wizard in the next one, which is going to make it a bit simpler to do that. And I'm going to click on that there, and I'm going to copy that down to there in that one, just so that I can show you how to highlight that one. Or I'm going to do Control-C and Control-V there. Okay, so that is exercise 1. If you do exercise 2, I think it's got the same. Oh, actually, let's have a look. Oh, we can keep going. So we've got it in here. Weeks 2 for Smith should read for 5, not 15. So we change that to 5, and you see how the average and the total changed. For Underhills should be Underhills week 2 should be 12, not 20. Okay, so that changed there. And changed all the texts in row 3 to capital letters. These are our headings within that now. There is a method of doing that, but I think you just have to go and just type that in for the moment. It's not given us in this book how to do that, so we would have to just type that in. I won't try and confuse you with the shortcut method. I'll just go and we'll just type it. Actually, we can just copy that from that point there onwards. Okay, and so we change that to that. Right, let's go into stage. Okay, so we're now going to add some additional values because we now got week 4 in there. So I think it's now saying insert a column after week 3 and before the average. So we highlight the column header, right click into it, insert, and then enter the text week 4. Well, I'm just going to drag that to the right. And then we're going to put in this information, which is 6 hours here. and then it says use copy and paste for them. Okay, well let's use Control C and Control V if you want to, rather than dragging. But alternatively, I'll undo that. We could have just highlighted it and dragged the square down there like that. Okay, and then what does it say next? It's quite exciting. This I get to see this for the first time myself. I need to get out more, don't I? Right, so we have now done that there. Then we're going to enter the formula for week 4 in cell 9. Okay, like that. A new client's taken on, and we're going to insert a row below under Hills. Insert. And this one is Abbey Builders. Okay, and we're going to put 0 into each of them, except for this last week, which we're going to put 13 in there. Okay, we're now going to check this formula. Does it add in Abbey Builders? Well, it does actually. If it didn't, so if the range was only going to C7, then we would have to change that. When I did it, I think this is just something of a masher course really, I gave myself the extra row, and then as I inserted any rows in here, it's updated it automatically for me. I'm going to drag down the average. Well, does that really help? No, the averages doesn't work because that is, yeah, that is going to there. So the average of B4 to E4 is working and updated. Okay. Apparently it doesn't like to bother with the average for that one. And that's that. That's that stage. Now then, okay, let's see where we're going to go for now. We no longer need the average column, so delete column F. So go into the column, right-click into it, delete the sheet. So let's do that. So I went into the column, I highlighted it. See how the colour's gone there? The little arrows appeared. I right-clicked and I deleted the sheet. Deleted the column. We're going to calculate the total number of hours, so we're going to enter client total now into that cell. Enter the formula in cell F4 to total the cells B4 through E4. So I'll use various different methods. So there's the auto sum version of it. Here's just the writing out version with the range. Is that we're getting longer. Oh, no, that version there. I quite like it, but the auto sum version is the faster version. If we know what we're doing, we've got the range. What I will say as well, just see how I flicked the auto sum on and I tried to calculate this one up here. You still will have to actually pick the right range. It won't. Sometimes it'll work for you and put what you want in there, but sometimes you actually have to sort of click on the range and highlight it yourself. And then I'm going to copy that down into there. Okay. Where are we? So we've got client totals in here. So enter extended into cell G3. Okay. Oh, and ensure the text, we missed it out that the text fits within the column width. So we go into that between the gap here, the column width, and we need to expand that out there. So that was how we changed the column width again. Widen column G so that it fits. So we went between the two lines of the column one, our little arrow or cursor changed, and we did that. Each client total is to be multiplied by 1.5. Okay. Equals that asterisk 1.5. Then we're going to copy that down to that. Copy the formula into it. I use the little drag down. You can use whatever you want to. Drag down's faster, but the you can go Control C, Control V, or copy and paste. Right, okay. And so we've now done the whole of that particular one. Now you've got a few more to work your way through, but I think that's enough for today. There's not going to be any differences in the rest of the things. Hopefully that was useful. As you can see, it does take a while for each of these ones, and I think we are going to have quite a bit of time. So hopefully that was helpful. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.